Okay. Hi, Bob. How are you?
Good, man. How about you?
Good. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for coming back.
Oh, hey, looking forward to it.
We looked it up. You were here just about 2 years ago. It was August of 2022.
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah. And so since then, you've still been working on your book series, I should say. Lancer, this is
Right.
the seventh book in the series.
Right. This is number seven. I think the last time we talked to you, we did number six. I used to do one a year, but then COVID hit, and so things were kind of crazy. And because we used to use the Cowboy Festival in Santa Clarita to debut the new Lancer every year in the book fair there, and they shut that down, and now it's canceled altogether. So, as far as the books are concerned.
It seems like a lot of festive gathering type things just died after COVID. Even though COVID's over, they never came back, you know?
Yeah, it was, it's one of those things where, you kind of have to keep the public thoughts in mind. And, once they kind of get away from something, even if they were in a habit of doing something, occasionally what happens is they just kind of forget about it and they move on to other things because other things pop up, and a lot of things that were pre-COVID went away because of COVID, and then either didn't come back or came back with different people running them, um, and people, like I said, moved on to other things, and it's kind of hard to restart something like that.
Yeah, it's funny because in Vegas, the one of the things that disappeared that so far has not come back are the buffets, which,
Really?
yeah, was kind of legendary here.
Yeah.
The Las Vegas buffet, most of them are gone. I don't know if anybody has restarted them or not, but that's a shame, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially downtown. I guess that's where most of the buffets really were, the active buffets. Last time I went to one anyway was downtown at a hotel downtown, and they usually, most people go to the Strip, but I guess downtown has also been revitalized quite a bit. So yeah, that's kind of a shame.
Why don't you just tell us briefly about the Lancer series for people who didn't
Okay.
see the last show and just give us an overview of the series?
Well, Lancer is a character I created. He's a compilation of um, 50s and 60s TV Western heroes, which I grew up on and followed with my father, and I used to watch them religiously. And, I always kind of wanted to do a Western, um, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with a Western. And I waited long before doing that because Western fans are very, very particular in what they want to read, or if you make mistakes and time frames and things like that, they kind of get on you quite heavily. So I waited to do that. So what I did when I created Lancer, I took bits of pieces of the different TV heroes that I liked, and then added my own twist. And my biggest twist to that is, of course, we have more sex scenes. There weren't any back then. And the other thing is, my character Lancer always carries Turkish delight, which is a gooey treat, in his saddlebags to woo his women and help break the ice, so to speak. And so that's what I added my sweet tooth. So Lancer is a good guy gunslinger, a wealthy guy, uh, kind of a dark past. You don't know much about him, but in every book from number one through number seven, and will be through number 10 when I'm finished, um, we reveal a little bit more about his past, and you learn a lot about his past in number seven. You didn't know very much in number one at all, and he basically works out of Tombstone. He always goes someplace else. He gets a letter or whatever to solve a crime or help somebody out in some other place. And the first one was Prescott. We made everyone the affair. So every book is titled Lancer, Hero of the West, the blank affair. So the first one was the Prescott affair. We did the Los Angeles affair, El Paso, New Orleans, Santa Fe, um, uh, Broken Bow, and this one is called the Virginia City Affair, and takes place obviously in Virginia City, Nevada, and right, not during, but sort of after the Comstock load, and he goes to help an old friend and gets more than he bargained for, and they're all sort of Western detective type stories. Although Lancer is his motto basically is, well, first of all, you'll never see a gun on the cover, and this particular cover is this one here, and you'll never see a gun on the cover of a Lancer book because he always uses his brains first. If he has to, he'll use his brawn second, meaning he gets into a fist fight. And third, if he has to go to the gun, which he doesn't like to do, but he will, he's a deadly shot, and you're going to be dead anyway. So that's kind of basically the basic rules of Lancer. And he always meets a legendary character on the way, a real life legendary character, on the way to the assignment in his travels. And I do that because I can make stuff up about those legendary characters, and simply because those legendary characters became legendary because of what they told about themselves, not so much what was the truth. And in this particular book, he runs into Tom Horn along the way, and he's run into Geronimo. He's run into several other people along the way. Can't think off the top of my head. And in one book, he actually ran into William F. Buckley's grandfather, who was a real life person in the West and did some things. So that's basically, a long story short, the story of Lancer.
While you were describing him, you also mentioned detectives, and I was thinking of some of those 70s detective shows that had a similar sort of format where they would go and solve a different crime every week. Is he comparable to any of those?
I probably, maybe not so much Thomas Magnum, because Magnum stayed at home. Maybe not so much. I can't think of his name now. The guy with the trench coat.
Oh, Columbo.
Columbo, right? Not so much Kojak, but except for they both have a sweet tooth. So yeah, I guess you could make the case for that, and it's sort of my other one of my best books is The Tattoo Murder, which is out. It came out about a little over a year ago, and it's a modern day version, not so much of Lancer, but a modern day detective type character.
Well, you also mentioned 1950s Western. That's slightly before my time, and the only one I can think of is The Rifleman. Which one was sort of the model for Lancer from that
I
era?
guess if you had to be more specific, the three that I kind of based it on, as far as just pulling from, would be Josh Randolph, Wanted Dead or Alive, The Rebel, Nick Adams, who played Johnny Yuma in The Rebel. Probably the closest I think most people would see when they read Lancer is Have Gun Will Travel, and of course that was Paladin, and who also had a single name. And but those are the three main ones that I pulled from, and there's some other mixtures in there as well, based on osmosis more than anything else.
What about Shane?
Well, Shane was a movie, not a TV show, although he may have been a short-lived TV show at one point. Shane was I was a gunslinger for sure, and I think the thing that most people remember about Shane is the ending when Brandon DeWilde, or Brandon DeWilde, whichever you prefer, Shane, come back, Shane, and because I guess you could make a little bit of a case for that, because in the Prescott affair, he has to deal with a teenage girl, and who is one of the characters in the book, in the investigation, and she tries her best to be older than she is, and Lancer won't have it. So you do have a younger person involved in that. It's interesting because as the books as we wrote more of them, and I developed the character even more, I've kept the character basically the same, but because of the revealing of more of his past, the character development changes a little bit. And this one, the I don't want to spoil anything, but most of the racy scenes are in the first chapter. And although there is a little bit more later on, but the first chapter is very, very enticing. And the one thing I did with this book, it's not the first time I've done it, but the first time I went whole hog, so to speak, is I asked permission of certain friends of mine if they'd like to be in the book. And every one of them said yes. And I said, I'm going to use your name as a character. And I would ask them, I'd say, you want to be a good guy or a bad guy? And most of them said bad guys or because everybody likes to be the bad guy. And they have all, I haven't heard back from one yet, but I'm sure he's going to be fine. They have all been thrilled to see their name in print as a character in a book. And one of them, my brother-in-law actually, looked at me and said, I'm immortal.
So you use these people's real names. Did you use their personalities as well, or how did you do that?
No, I didn't. Basically, their real names. I didn't want to give them a trait that would be too close, and in doing, if you do that, then you reveal your feelings and your thoughts of a person who may at some point misinterpret that. And whether you have a falling out with that person, or whether you just become even closer to that person, you always have that hanging over your head. And I told them in advance that you're just a character in a book. Your name's there. You want to be a villain, you want to be a good guy, I'll make it so. But I'm not going to tie any real traits to you, simply because of that too close to the character, to the author.
Well, you're dealing with people that, you're in a different time period, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't think you could be sued, could you?
You could be sued for anything in this country, anytime,
That's
anywhere,
true enough.
Any
Yeah. I suppose just even using their name, you could be sued, right?
Yeah, and I like I said, I do get permission, and they're all personal friends of mine. And they're not hopefully not the type of people that would take illegal action. If I had someone who I asked and they said yes, and then they would want to have literary control of the character, I would not do it. I would say, no, sorry, can't do that. It's my character. That's where it lies. I don't want you in my book.
Have you had anybody who got a little overexcited and wanted to direct the show or not?
No. Well, I did have one character. They wanted to be the character, but they really didn't. They wanted to change the name a little bit, and I was okay with that. And I won't tell you why, because it's a little more personal. But it's I'm not opposed to that. I don't like doing that because I really want the full name. And but if that's how it has to be, and the person was a close friend, so it was not a big deal.
Well, Bob, I think on that we're going to have to wind this down. The book is called The Virginia City Affair. It's the 7th book in the Lancer series. The book is out. It's been released?
Yes. Lancer, Hero of the West, The Virginia City Affair came out about a couple of weeks ago and is on the market. You can buy it on Amazon, on my publisher's website, which is Tuscany Bay, or you can also buy it on my site, which is bobbrillbooks.com. And I'm easy to find. If you Google Bob Brill, I come up like 17 in the top 20. But bobbrillbooks.com is, if somebody wants a signed copy, they have to do it through bobbrillbooks.com. And the books are like $10 plus shipping. And Amazon, has the softcover books as well as the digital books if somebody's interested in that.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for coming back on the show. Always nice to talk to you, and best of luck.
It's always fun. You got it. Thanks again.